Happy Friday, socialites. Welcome to the best damn social club in the universe. I am your host, Jedi ASU, and thank you so very much for spending a little bit of your Friday with me and my guest. Looking forward to an exciting conversation this evening, especially for the first one of 2021. So as always, make sure you sit back, relax, pour yourself a drink, and let's get social. As it is, it's the 22nd of January in the year of our Lord 2021. And I am excited to have a gentleman some of you in the Phoenix area know very well. I was actually fortunate enough to meet him one time on at Camp Tantazona, but then we have been able to stay in contact via the Twitter, for which I am grateful for. So Cameron Cox works with 12 News there in Phoenix, has been covering sports and more for the past 7 years, and I am excited to welcome him to the show. Cameron, how you doing, my friend?
Jedi, good evening, buddy. Thank you so much for having me. You put the pressure on right away. It's the first one of the new year.
That's right.
All right, I got to deliver. I have to do something.
Your energy
is
awesome.
Having me, buddy. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's crazy. We did meet at Camp T, and I hope we all get to go back to Camp T one day. Right?
Soon.
You know, just soon, and can y'all get? I mean, that's such a cool atmosphere too. That
it is
does at Camp T, and it's like those events that I just keep in the back of my head, and I'm like, okay, just can't wait.
I know, because we went and got some dinner. We went and picked up some dinner, and I bottomed out because I was just driving along, and I was just bottomed out, just like, man, I'm just so tired of this. So, like you said, I was excited to have this conversation and just think about those things that we get to have, in the future as well. Also, everyone out there, Padawan 2 gave me this new shirt, so I'm going to have to sport that here on there. I think I got it at Fanatics. It's part of the OHT series, so it actually helps the veterans. So once I have an affiliate link down there, you guys can click on that. I'll get 2 cents, and if I sell 100 shirts, I get $2. So
that's pretty cool. That's sweet. Logo, all of that. There we go.
Exactly. It's nice, subdued. It's not a big old pattern, and it's black, so it hides the fat.
That's how it works. Yeah, I feel you.
So good to talk with you. So how was your new year? What were you up to? Did you have to work, or were you just kind of covering stuff, or how was it for you?
Oh, New Year was awesome. I'm a holiday kind of person, so I look forward to holidays, birthdays, Christmas. I mean, it's just I can't be sad around those times. And I know it was such a weird time because there's just so many different things going on, and you want people to be with their families and friends, and certain things just can't happen. I mean, heck, I didn't even go home during Christmas because my mom didn't want me to travel. So it was just kind of, didn't get a chance to go to Houston. So that was kind of weird. New Year's I did work, but afterwards, just a few friends of mine, we were able just to kind of sit down and just celebrate the new year. And it's people I've worked with, so it's people I've been around. And that was kind of cool. At least you get to feel somewhat. I hate using that quote unquote normal. I feel like we always have to paraphrase things with that.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. So that was cool just to kind of sit around and drink a little bit and talk about what's coming up, what we hope, life is going to be like a year from now or anything like that. And kind of encourage everybody to keep, chugging along and keep setting goals. And I think it's important that people set things they look forward to, whatever it is. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Like, just like, hey, I'm looking forward to something on Thursday. I'm looking forward to something on Friday, because for a while, I don't know about you, but there were times where it was like, what are we looking forward to?
It was.
I mean, in the summertime, I think back to that, like, okay, we're not going back to work. Who knows what's going to happen in the fall? There were just times where there weren't things you were looking forward to. So I encourage people to do that. I'm trying to practice that myself, like weekly, just making sure there's things that I can look forward to in life. So New Year's was great, and it's been a great start to the year already. There's been some cool things that have happened. It's kind of like life keeps moving on. So it's a good thing.
It's a valid point that you were saying that, Barry, because back in March of 2020, right, when it first went, it's just like, okay, I mean, it was really like hour to hour. It wasn't even day to day. You're like, okay, what's this next hour going to do? All right, so we made it through the day, and then, okay, let me wake up. And it's like, so looking forward, something bigger plans, that's a lot of the things that we're looking forward to, like trips. We're gonna drive up to Tahoe in a couple weeks.
There you go.
Get out, because I mean the kids are just chattering about it, right? So it's like I think they're just excited to get out of the house, which is.
How old are your kids?
So Padawan 1, she is 16, and then my twins, the boy girls. So lost opportunity. I didn't call them Luke and Leia, but Padawan. I know. Padawan.
I would have voted for that. Like if you would have given me like a multiple choice question, I'd have been like, that's probably the one I would have picked.
Exactly. And so
I have a friend, by the way, a good friend, San Antonio's David Chancellor. His son is named Luke. He's a huge Star Wars fan. He was a sports guy now, morning anchor for WOAI out there. He will not admit that he named his son after Luke Skywalker. But I know inside that's how he came up with the name Luke Skywalker. Excuse me, Luke.
Well, so Padawan 2, his name is so you'll probably know this one. So I'll go. So we were getting a sonogram, making sure they were okay, and flipping through a book, and Mrs. Jedi, who's like, I really love this name. It's spelled differently. And I'm like, are you sure? And he's like, absolutely. I love this one. This is from a movie. This is from a movie we love. Are you okay with it? And she's like, absolutely. So Padawan 2's first name is Corbin Daniel instead of Corbin Dallas.
Yeah. Okay.
so the name is spelled exactly as it was in The Fifth Element. And so I'm like, are you sure with this? And I'm like, so there's a little bit of a win there. So but that was, so they're 13. So they're I'm going to have a senior and 2 freshmen. So I'm going to be that's what I say.
You're almost done. You're almost done.
Yeah, it's like a get out. No, it's like they're not gonna. As the closer and closer it becomes a reality, I'm like, I kind of don't want them to leave. Even then, because I work from home, so I see them all the time, and I'm like, it's okay. I'm all right with it. But
I'll admit this, and I hope my dad is watching. He's not very good with Twitter. And mom too. It's awful.
This will be on YouTube. They can watch it later.
You're great. Okay, if they can find YouTube. Mom just knows how to post pictures on Facebook, which is like, to me, crazy that she can even do that, given her limitations in technology. Dad's getting better with email and stuff like that. But it's crazy. When I left college, I always remember this. I tell high school kids this all the time. Any chance I get a chance to speak to teams and stuff, because I think it's important.
Right.
When I left college, my family and I are very close. I always thought like there would be days, maybe weeks sometimes, where like my parents and I wouldn't talk. It's just gonna happen. You get older and stuff like that. Right. But I'll be real with you. There are very few days that my parents and I don't exchange a message about something. Good. Like something. Like, Dad, whether good morning, hello, Mom, what you doing today? Right. Remember this? Like, there's just always something. So I'm telling you, there's hope. Like that your kids and you will keep that close relationship, because my parents and I definitely do, and it's a blessing every day. And maybe one day we'll go without talking, like Dad was traveling or something, and the next day I'll be like, wait a minute, Dad didn't. Did he not say hello? Like, come on, Dad, So
yeah.
It's been really cool to keep that relationship all these years, and even though I haven't lived in in Houston in a while, or home, you're back home. Right. It's been great to stay close even after you leave the house. So.
See, I'm excited for that too. And I really honestly blame hormones and teenage angst as to why they're so pissed off at me all the time. So that's really, so now, are you an only child, by the way?
No, I got a brother. I got a younger brother. He's 3 years younger. And I have a stepsister who's my brother's age. My parents divorced when I was in middle school. My mom remarried. Okay. And he had a daughter, and she lives in Colorado. My brother lives in Houston, so I got 2 siblings.
Excellent. So you have everyone everywhere. So when's the last time you were in Houston?
It's been over a year. It's funny. I was even talking to a high school buddy of mine today, and I was almost telling him, I was like, hey man, y'all are about to have another kid. I'm like, hey, listen, you got to come golfing or something before you have 2. You never golf. I think it's been over a year since I've been to Houston.
Wow.
Usually I go always in the summertime at some point when I got some time off.
Okay.
I usually always try and plan a Christmas trip around family. So I take a week either before, just depending on work schedule. I was hoping ASU was going to be in a big bowl game this year. So, maybe that delayed the trip at all. But I mean, usually around Christmas, I take a week and I go home. So this year just didn't do that. And so it's been a year, probably over a year since I've been to Houston. Yeah, which is weird because that's home. But I mean, here's the only place that has felt like home other than Houston. Right. It's just weird not to go back and see family, friends. I'm very close with a lot of my good friends in high school.
Very nice. And so then Houston in the summer, though, when you make that trip, is that like kind of like the leading edge of the humidity, or is it always humid?
It's always humid, bro.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So I tell people here, I love the heat. Like I don't mind the heat.
Okay.
I would prefer, being from the South, I'm as warm-blooded as they come. I hate cold weather. Those memes that you see of people in Phoenix when it's like 60 degrees and they're covered up in like a snow jacket. That's me. I feel that in my soul because that's me. So yeah, I don't mind the heat. I don't mind the humidity. Heck, we used to practice in 100-degree heat, 100% humidity. Wow. And that was back when coaches didn't used to give us water. Like, not at all. Like, you want water?
And you didn't die.
No, we drank water out of a water hose through a PVC pipe with holes.
That's right. Come on. It tasted like metal and plastic at the same time.
But guess what? When you were tired, it was
matter.
Gold water.
And the water was warm, and it's just like, who cares?
You needed it. So I don't mind the heat out here, and it's always humid there. And we're pretty lucky here, the weather where you're at too is great. I mean, in here this is why we live here in Phoenix this time of the year when it's just beautiful every day.
This is the one, right? Because I was talking with Ralph Abenston about it, and he's a Montana guy. He loves it up in the northern part, the northwestern part of the country. But he said that he was like, I don't know if I can do another summer like this past summer. Because
come on, Ralph.
Because I was looking at what it was like the hundreds in October.
Okay, like listen, it just feels like you're cooking. So I tell everybody, everybody hadn't been to Phoenix, so some of my friends and stuff, I go, if you want to know what it feels like in the desert in the summertime, my oven's right over there. Go turn on your oven, get it to about 450 degrees. Just open it up, stick your head in there just a little bit, and hold it. That's what it feels like. And then so in a few hours of that, you'll be well done. That's basically what it feels like. That you're going to be well done in an hour or so. And you'll be good to go. That's
after a certain temperature, it really doesn't matter.
It doesn't, after that. And the craziest thing, but I will say, it is weird in the summertime because I do like to play golf in the afternoon. It's cheaper. The prices aren't as heavy. So I'm on the course at noon, 1 o'clock when the sun's right above you and it's just beating down. But after being on the course about 3 or 4 hours, probably longer than that some days, you get home and your skin, that's the one thing you just can't get. It's just hot. There's not a cold shower in the world that'll cool you down.
Yeah,
5 hours and 120. You just got to take some time to yourself to cool down.
So my dad still lives in Arizona, down in Tucson, and he would, up until recently, he would do the same exact thing. He would go to the golf course. They would pay him to golf at that day.
Can I hang out with your dad?
Exactly. Well, it wasn't the best course, but still, he was there, and he'd be grinding.
Listen, I'm not a golf course snob by any means. I love the nice courses. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But sign me up for the tee time. That's $15. I'm good with that.
That's what it was. He was, and then he would so he loved munching on paydays, right? So he'd have a payday, and it'd be just a melted mess. But it's like I can't do that. But anyway.
Yeah, keep it in the cool. Don't also, free advice, don't leave your clubs in your car in the summertime. Before you know it, the grips on the end will wear off and you'll send a 5-iron, just the head of the 5-iron.
It'll just go. Oh, yeah. God.
Don't leave it in your car.
Glue does not like heat because I sent several people thank yous, and I'll be sending you one as well. I make the thank yous, so I cut them up in glue and all this other stuff, but I sent the thank yous in the dead of summer, so when everyone got them, they were all falling apart because the glue was all into them. I'm like, oh man. But yeah, so now you're from Houston, and we were talking about this because we were talking about your education. You played in high school, but you're also being recruited, right? So what position did you play, and what was your recruitment like? And we'll go to Eastern New Mexico eventually, but I just want to talk about what was it like in high school? What was your recruitment like?
I think my recruiting process. So I played football in high school as a wide receiver, and I was kind of new to the game. I was more of a lineman in middle school, a tight end, and then they made me into a wide receiver. Best thing that ever happened to me. One of the best things. It was great. I really enjoyed it. It was new, so I had to really work at it. catching a football didn't come as natural early on in my life as people thought. So I really had to work at it. And then I also ran track. I ran the 400, and
right on.
It was awesome. It just got me in such great shape to play football. So I recommend you do 2 sports. Heck, do 3 sports in high school if you can. Try everything. It's important. You know what I mean? It's important to experience all those things, and it also will test your mind athletically when you're put in different spots like that.
Well, I guess you're using, it's not so by rote doing the same thing for one sport. You're using your body, and it's actually giving you much more dynamic range, I guess.
Yeah, so I'll tell, like, this is one thing. I'll never forget this. So after my junior football season, we went into my junior year in track, which was in the spring in Texas.
Right.
And the first day of track practice, I remember I thought I was in great shape. Man, coming off the season, Coach Ray, let's run. And we get out there with some of the kids that just did track. And so, like, I blew them away. I was like, man, they're not going to be able to touch me. I remember getting out there and I'm running, I'm leading, and then all of a sudden, like, about a couple of 200s, 300s in, I'm like, hey, Coach, I'll be right back. And I just blew chunks over on the side. Like, apparently, I thought I was in better shape than that, but apparently I wasn't. And then Coach was like, gotcha. I was like, all right, I'll get to work. I'm going to shut up now.
Because you're used to the short bursts.
I guess the long distance didn't catch, so it caught everything off guard. Or it could have been the chicken fried steak we used to get at lunch in high school. It was always iffy. You never knew about it.
That the stomach was the stomach was absolutely indefeatable when you were young, though, right? You could eat all kinds. Although, and I have with you, there was one thing I remember: if I had the nachos from the cafeteria the day of a game or during practice, no, it was bad news. I was not running as fast.
I always tried to bring my lunch on game day. You just didn't want to eat that pizza.
No.
Like, listen, it was great some days, and you're very thankful for it, but just like you had to make sure you were eating the right things on game day.
That's right, because you never knew how it was going to react and come out later.
So my recruitment, though, I think it's similar to a lot of kids. Not everybody gets a D1 offer. Let's just be real. Like, they're very hard to get. Only a limited people get those, and it's not everybody. I think social media today, you see a lot of it, but I don't think you see the other side of it. You see a lot of people get those D1 offers, but you got to remember that's like 1-2 kids a team, maybe 3, and the rest of them got to go figure it out themselves. So I was one of those kids that had to go figure it out themselves. There were a bunch of preferred walk-on statuses I got to some D1 schools, and I looked at some of those, like at the University of Texas, North Texas, because they had a really good broadcasting program. So there were going to be some chances where I could play football and go to broadcasting school.
Has that always been your focus then?
Yeah, since I was 9 years old. Since I was 9 years old, I went to the Houston show and rodeo. The weatherman put me on TV. He had me point to things that he was describing. And since Mario Gomez, who used to work at KHOU 11, and since that one day when I was 9 at the rodeo, I always wanted to be on TV.
That's cool.
I wanted to do weather, but then math, they started mixing letters and numbers together. And I tapped out. Miss Muhart and I had it out my senior year just so I could get to see. So I could get to see.
That's funny.
And so TV.
But you're looking at programs that had broadcasting.
Yeah, that had broadcasting, and sports was kind of. I played sports, so it was kind of the natural thing there. And I looked at some 1AA schools or FCS schools like Sam Houston State, Stephen F. Austin. I looked at some other D2 schools in the area, even south of Houston, Texas A&M Kingsville, A&M Commerce, that all had programs too as well. And so for like 2 months, December and January, there were some coaches coming in from smaller schools and stuff like that would come talk to me, and that was great. But my dad and I, we'd spend every weekend, we'd send out emails to coaches. We'd send them my tape.
Oh, okay.
During the week, we'd email more coaches and send them my tape. Then on the weekends, we'd drive to the school and like go visit the school ourselves. So for like 2 months, I mean, literally, we went to Texas. We went to North Texas. We went to Sam Houston, where my dad went. Stephen F. Austin, A&M Kingsville, A&M Commerce. Mary Hardin-Baylor was a D3 school. I mean, we went to Tarleton State. I mean, we went to probably 12, 11 different schools to meet the coaches personally. And, like, we just get in the car on a Saturday morning and drive or late Friday night, get a hotel. And so Like
all on your dime. This wasn't like official
yeah.
visits or anything. It's like you did it.
No,
Okay.
no. So you had to kind of make it happen for yourself. I wasn't
Right on.
nowhere near the best in the state or in the city or anything like that. I thought I had a good career, and
Right.
it was good for me. I was pleased with it. But we had to make some of those opportunities happen for yourself. And that's why I tell kids a lot of times these days, like, hey, listen, if a coach doesn't come calling, that's okay. Go find that coach. You know what I mean?
Right.
Go email that coach. And nowadays it's easier. Heck, we used to have to make DVDs and had to hope they get the DVD. Nowadays you can do the link. And YouTube is great. YouTube is fantastic.
Absolutely.
And so we drove around everywhere, and I think I was leaning towards either probably going to Texas. I was a little discouraged about University of Texas because they were going to make you wait a few years before you could really get into the broadcasting program.
Wow.
Similar to ASU, you have to kind of get your prereqs done a little bit, kind of get your feet in. They don't want to like throw you into the fire right away.
Oh, interesting.
Which is understandable. But I was like, hey, listen, let me help. Can I hold a camera? Can I do somebody's makeup?
Okay.
Can I just stand there in the back and watch?
Right.
And possibly go play football. So it was kind of like a few different things that I just wanted to be a part of it right away. I didn't want to waste any time.
Okay. Fair.
And so it was probably going to be UT, North Texas, or Sam Houston State, which was a D1 AA school. And there was a school that came to visit named Eastern New Mexico. And the coaches was very nice. And, it was going to be a chance to play and go out there. And apparently they had this great program that I just never heard of. I mean, I never thought I would go that far west to New Mexico. And I thank the coaches for coming to visit, and they were changing offenses. They were going to run the spread. I run the spread, the same system. It was just, they had run the triple option. By the way, this was pretty smart of them. They run the triple option for like 25 years. Like Georgia Tech came to Eastern to like learn how to run the option. When Georgia Tech, and so they would average 700 yards a game rushing, but only put up 25 points. And other schools they were playing were like putting up 50 and throwing the ball, so they had to make the switch.
Exactly. They had to adapt.
So they recruited a bunch of us out of Texas, out of the Houston area to come play, which is really cool because I got to meet people from all over Houston to come play. But I remember coming home that day, and I told my dad, coach from Eastern New Mexico came to visit. It was very nice for him. I'm not going. He goes, whoa, come back. Tell me the story. He goes, you're not even going to listen to him? I'll go, Dad, no, I'm not going. Just, it's in New Mexico. Like, go find. Can you find it on the map? Seriously, you couldn't even find. Eastern.
We said that. I said that.
Yeah, you can't find it. I couldn't find it. It's not, it's not even anywhere close to a map.
Right.
So, it was just not going. And as we started to do some of these visits, my dad would always bring it up. My dad's just one of those guys who likes to poke the bear. He's very persistent on things.
Right.
And that's just his nature. You know what I mean? He just wants to see the big picture on things. So he'll keep bringing stuff up. And I kept telling him we'd go on a visit. What about Eastern? No, Dad, not going. Eastern? No, I'm not going. And so there was like a couple weekends in January left. And he just booked us a flight to Lubbock, Texas. You have to fly to Lubbock and then drive an hour and a half over the border. And it's in the middle of nowhere. So that's what you have to do. And I remember he woke me up on a Saturday. He's like, all right, pack your bags. We're going to Portales, New Mexico. And it's like 6:00 in the morning on a Saturday. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, yeah, I'm going to play in Eastern's golf tournament later, their football golf tournament later. You got a meeting with the news director. You're going to go meet with him.
Wow.
Go play in this. Yeah. So Dad has set all this up. Like, Dad was very proactive in this. And I'm like, Dad, we're not going. He goes, you live under my roof. We're going.
What about Eastern New Mexico possessed your dad so much, I guess, that's what I'm trying to figure.
My dad has a seventh sense. I mean, it's more past the basics, like 8, 9, 10. Of just knowing when something sounds right, or knowing, just having a good intuition on like a situation. And so
that was
he just had a feeling. And he doesn't know. It's just, I always say it's his dad being dad. Like, you're always right. Like, how many times can a dad be right in life? Like, I hope I get there one day when I got kids. I want to write all these situations down when dads are just writing life. I'm sure you have them too. It's whatever it is when you have kids. Apparently it happens. So
it's actually more like, it's like, good. I'm glad this isn't worked out, and it's everything else XYZ, and you act all cool about it, and then you go disappear in the bathroom or in the bedroom. You're like, yes.
And so he said it just sounded good. Whatever. I don't know.
Cool.
So we got on the flight. We flew out there. We spent a few days out there. Coach and staff was great. The program was fantastic. John Kirby was the news director there.
Okay.
He now is a general manager of the station in Colorado. I mean, he ran that program like it was a small market TV station. He promised me from day one, like right away, that I would be able to, go there and help out and do stuff. And he knew the football coach very well. We worked together. And so when I left the meeting with him and then the coach, like my dad said, I just got real quiet. And he said right away, he just knew, like, this is where my son's going to school. And in my head, I was like, this is where I'm going to school. Like I'm going to, and so it's why, I tell kids all the time too, like I tell them my story because I want them to know that you can make those opportunities happen for yourself. And if like you want to play somewhere, I don't care what your skill level is. You can find a place to go play. We had walk-ons that had no business playing college football, but guess what? They wanted to play, and they just wanted to be walk-ons, and they just wanted to be practice dummies. Guess what? They had a time of their lives, and they were good people, and they loved it. And so if you want to go play and you want to go get an education, you can go find yourself, and you can find a spot for you. It doesn't always have to be at a big D1 school. And so that's just how it happened. So went there, done, came back and like signed a couple of days later. Like it was a done deal. It's crazy.
Well, what I love about your story as well, and especially on the part of your father as well, is that, and this is what I see in Mrs. Jet ASU's. You have this incredible sense of hustle. It's just hustle and just go and drive and get it. And it's like, okay, this is what I have to do. I mean, you guys you driving around for 8 weeks, going into schools on your own dime, figuring it out and making sure. But it's that hustle, that drive, that is just something that I admire, right? Because it's like like you said, it's out there. You just have to go get it.
Just got to find it. Same thing with scholarships. Like I remember going into college, like, D2, they don't pay for everything. So like there's some things that you have to figure out a way to pay for. And, Eastern wasn't Texas prices. I mean, college is still expensive in a way, you know what I mean? And so like during the spring, like every I want to say Saturday or Sunday, like my dad would sit down and be like, go find some scholarship application online about something, Coke, Pepsi, I'm just anything random. There's so much money available to kids every spring going into college of like random scholarships. Like just fill out one, just fill out an application, see if you can win it or see if you can win some of it. It's amazing every year the amount of money that's just left that people don't give. They allot to give away to kids all over the country. A lot of companies do it. A lot of companies, organizations do it. Right. And it could be anything and everything you could possibly think of, from robotics to broadcasting, seriously. And so like we would just fill out, I don't remember how many we got. I think we got like 2 or 3, and they were just like small things here and there, not necessarily a lot of money, but just a little bit. You know what I mean?
Money. Yeah. It's better than nothing.
Yeah. But I mean, like just doing stuff like that, if you need help paying for school, there's avenues to get that money to do it. And so, if kids want to make it happen, their senior year, junior year, something, anything like that, you can make it happen. Sometimes it's taking a little work and a little parents pushing you over the edge and what you're not comfortable with doing. Nobody wants to write an essay on a Saturday morning, but guess what? If it pays off.
Exactly. It's a true sales model, right? Where it's, again, you're selling yourself, your experience, and you're putting it out there. But the other thing is that it's always a numbers game. If you get 1,000, if you apply to 1,000 of them and you only get 10, maybe even 15, that's on average. Let's say you get 10%. That's 100 scholarships at $100 each. I mean, that's all. So anyway,
that can make a difference. And so
it's huge.
It's crazy to look to, like, even just talk about it. It's fun to look back on because it was such a good decision like one of the best decisions I've made in my life. And I call it a good decision because of the people that I've met. I wouldn't be here without it. Like, seriously, I don't know if I'd be in Phoenix without going there and meeting John Kirby and him really, being on my ass. He was like my second dad, my news director. He was on my ass. Like he would, it's funny, college professors are not really supposed to talk to, the dads and stuff like that. Him and my dad became very good friends to this day. He called my dad every week. Hey, Cam did this. You should be proud of him. The next week, hey, Cam didn't do this. You want to get on him. And so it was a great environment, great people.
That's cool.
I met my roommate who I lived with for 3 years there. My brother, like seriously, my brother from another mother. Like we just happened to be paired together. He was from Lubbock. His name is Kedrick Carver. He's a football coach at a 1A school out there. And like he's my brother. He's like family. Their family was like my family. And so it's funny how things work out.
That's excellent, man. And so we were talking about this. You got an offer actually before you even graduated. Now, where was that again? Did you get you? Yeah. Because again, that's a testament to the program.
Yeah,
they liked what you were. You sending? Did you have to send out like demos and all that? Okay.
Yeah. So after my junior year, I started sending out tapes just to see. I mean, I'd done some really good internships in Houston.
Okay.
I just felt like I was ready. Cool. I'd done play-by-play in college. I'd hosted my own sports radio show on a country station on a Saturday morning. It's called Game On. And like all of a sudden the country music would stop at like 7:59. And here would be my loud ass voice in the morning, yelling and screaming about local sports and playing Triple H's music because I was a wrestling fan and it said time to play the game. And so I did so many cool things. I'd been on air as an intern in Houston. Very blessed. The station there was going through a transition, and they had some weekend spots open when I would go home. And so the sports director there was a good friend of mine, and I had worked for him for a long time, and basically just shown up and asked, "Hey, how can I help?" And so I feel like I'd done a lot. And so I was ready to kind of take the next step, and I got an offer to go work at Monroe, Louisiana, under Aaron Dietrich at KNOE. Aaron is still there, been a sports director there for a long time. He is like Louisiana sports. He gives out these shirts every Monday called Aaron's Aces. And these kids grow up wanting these Player of the Week shirts. Hey, Cam, I'd be in the grocery store. Hey, Cam, my son, tell Aaron to come by. It was great. It was awesome.
Oh, that's funny.
So Monroe is great. Listen, small town. I tell everybody, Duck Dynasty, take a left. And so that's where it was located.
Right.
Northeast Louisiana. And it was a great sports town because it had 3 Division I colleges, Louisiana Monroe, Louisiana Tech, Grambling State, all within a 50-mile radius.
That's cool.
We covered high school sports like nothing else. Like people loved their local athletes. LSU is massive in Louisiana. So anytime the Tigers had a big game or baseball season, everybody wanted, and then the Saints were huge. So like in Louisiana, not the biggest state, New Orleans is only 4 hours away. And so it was such a great local random sports town that I didn't even know was there. Like, where's Monroe, Louisiana? Okay, cool. It sounds great. And it ended up being a great spot to go right.
Monroe is their team, their mascot. Monroe.
The Warhawks.
The Warhawks, thank you.
Rich Rodriguez is the new offensive coordinator at Louisiana Monroe. He just got back into coaching.
He's down there.
Yeah, he's down there now. So he's getting back into coaching now. So that's where he's at.
That's right, because he was at Ole Miss or Mississippi State. Where was he? Ole Miss. He was at Ole Miss. Was it at Ole Miss because he got fired because that player pretended to pee like a dog? Wasn't it?
No, the former head coach of the Wildcats.
Yeah, he was in.
Did he go to Ole Miss?
He was either at Ole Miss or Mississippi State.
One of those. Go to Ole Miss. That's okay. I totally forgot that he went to Ole
Miss. And the only reason I know that
he got fired, yes, because the guy at the end of the game, and that's how they lost the game.
That's how they lost the game. But also it was not that, but that game, I swear he probably he could have he hulked out and he was just destroying the whole. I mean, he wasn't, but you just saw him raging, and I'm like, oh my God. But anyway. So yeah,
he did go to. Oh, I totally forgot he went to Ole Miss.
I think it was for a year. I mean, it wasn't very long.
It was only for 1 year. Wow, I just looked it up. I totally forgot you. I thought I couldn't even remember.
And that's interesting. He's staying down south. So
I mean, and so that I went there.
That's cool. That sounds like a great time.
Monroe was great, And then from there, I went to spend a year there, then went to San Antonio, Texas, and worked under two of the best storytellers, I think, in the country, and Don Harris and David Chancellor. And I'll say this, going to San Antonio was like another wake-up call like in my life, because like leaving Monroe, I thought I was on the right track in this business. When I got to San Antonio, like the two guys I worked for were just so good at what they do.
Really?
I remember calling my dad and be like, Dad, I'm never going to get on TV here. Like I'm never, like they're not, what do they need me for? They hired me just to just help. Like what did they need me for? Like they were so much better than me.
Wow.
That, like I had to like really like look myself in the mirror and be like, all right, Cam, like you just put your head back down and like go back to work and like work on your writing, work on your, just because I wanted to be a part of their team and I wanted to be on their level. And like,
right.
Just as a young kid, they've been in the business for a long time. So it was just like, okay, I don't know everything. There's a lot I have to learn. Like keep your mouth shut, listen, don't, because I have a tendency. I mean, I'm very passionate about that. You can ask Coop or anybody I work with. Like, I always like to give you a why, like why I believe in what I'm doing.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's important. I always want to tell you why. Now that why might be wrong, I might be so wrong that it might be dead wrong. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's nothing wrong with it. But I always like to give you a why, and I'm very passionate and loud. So I'll tell you what I think.
Right.
And when I got there, it's like, okay, I don't think I need to rethink a lot of things and just listen. So it was great going to San Antonio. Spent 2 years there, covered the Spurs, and they went to the finals twice, which was awesome because you got
during that time, yeah.
That was Ray Allen shot. I don't know if you remember Ray Allen when the Heat beat him, and then the next year the Spurs came back and beat him. I know it's a cuss word in Phoenix. I apologize for saying that. And then I've been here for the last 7 years, so it's been a wild, fun ride.
And that, just like you were saying, right? Because we were talking about this as we were pre-gaming. You've been in very warm climate areas, because I know if you are looking to see, because it's like because I've seen a lot of people that are going from station to station. They're all over the place, right? Cold, small, large, north, south, east, west, and you're like, nope. Here's my circle. I'm not.
Well, okay, I'll be honest with you. So people have asked me before, like, where you want to go. I don't, and I've never ever like really. Once I went to Eastern, never put a cap on it. Like I sent my stuff everywhere. Like when trying to apply for a job, I didn't go send my stuff to Alaska, but like I've said before, if Alaska was the best opportunity, and they wrote enough zeros on that check, guess what? I'm going to Alaska. Like
as long as it's after the first number.
It's just like I've been in so many different situations, Eastern, Monroe, San Antonio. I mean, just situations where like, because I didn't say no, or like, because I didn't put a cap on it, I was able to do X, Y, and Z. And I just think like that's important. I'll always listen to something. Like I'll always listen to another idea or like a place or something, just because like you never know. Like, and that just goes back to my decision to Eastern. Like I said, I was very adamant I wasn't. Yeah. And it turned out to be phenomenal and great and like a great choice, and had a time of my life. And so I love Eastern. I'll sing you the fight song if you want me to. Loud and proud, Woo!
There's two things. The fight song, and how about the alma mater? Don't they have an alma mater as well?
They do. I don't know the long version. I know the short version. I'll probably recite that in my sleep. But I mean, it's like, it's just opportunities. And so I'll always look at opportunities. So like if someone presents me with who knows, hopefully I stay here as long as I can. I love it here, but if another one comes up or something like that, at least I want to listen. Who knows? Right. Alaska. I mean, I joke with Alaska because that seems like to be extreme, but like
it is.
If it is, because who? It makes me about it. But like if it was a good opportunity and good for my life and happiness and stuff, like why would you not listen? At least listen. You can say no, but at least listen to what somebody else has to say.
So now I am fascinated with. I don't watch a lot of TV, but there's one called Life Below Zero. It's on the net. I don't know if you've heard about that one. So look it up. Life Below Zero. I don't know if it's on Nat Geo or what network is on, but it's a reality show where they follow these families that live in Alaska, and it's not they're living in Anchorage, they're living in the way out,
Whoa.
no one's around type of spots. And so, like, one of the guys,
this is like Alaska.
this is real types where, you know, you see them hunting and they're, you know, they're setting up. I mean, I guess obviously some of, like, one lady, she owns the only airport that's like 200 miles north of the Arctic Circle. I'm like, I don't know who in the hell's flying up there, but it's because of her airport she's able to, like, serve all those communities around there. But she's the one. So I'm like, I don't know.
I rode in one of those small planes one time, Monroe at a small airport, and I was like, man, I'm not gonna drive to 8 hours. Like, it might have been 8, maybe something like that. It was a long way to Houston. I was like, I'm gonna fly. Man, they put me in one of them small prop propeller planes. That thing was, I've never been so scared in my entire life.
Is it one of those two that's like two twos and then the prop?
It had the propellers on the side, and like, I thought it was really cool. Like, man, I'm gonna ride in that thing. I remember that flight to the day I died. The whole time I was just grabbing the armrest and just like shake. And usually, like, I'm the guy that can sleep on the plane before we take off. Like, I'm out. Like,
me too. Absolutely.
Does her little thing, and she's like, all right, I'm gone.
Yep, absolutely.
I don't move until, like, the wheels land. So that's me.
Yeah, the wheels jolt you. I'm the same thing with you.
Yeah. So and then I wake up. So but like, I remember that flight. Like, I just remember being like wide eyed and be like, okay, we're gonna get home. We're gonna get home.
So you're a big dude. We're both big dudes.
Yeah.
Did they move you in that plane? And I have a reason why, because I did the same exact thing. I had to fly, so I did the same exact thing. It was Alaska Air from Portland to Eugene, and I go in there. It's like, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just like falling asleep, and they wake me up, and I'm like, all right, so you have to sit in the middle of the plane for balance. So I'm like, okay, and so then I'm sitting here, and there's the prop. So I'm like, okay, if anything goes sideways, the prop's going to rip right through. And so, like you said, I'm like,
the problem with life situations for you and I, we've seen too many damn movies. And so we know I was just explaining to somebody about this here. I can't remember what we were talking about, but like something popped into my head from like a movie. And I'm just like, damn it, I've seen how this plays out before. That's the problem. You and I just seen too many movies where we know all the scenarios. We know
exactly.
Prop goes through the plane, it goes the other way, it just blows. Like, we've seen all the possibilities.
Exactly. I had a friend.
It's just not peaceful at that point.
It isn't after, and that was my whole thing. So when I was a consultant and I was traveling all over so I would travel 75% of the time. I'd leave Sunday, come home Friday night. And so there was a whole crew of us. And one of the guys is like, the only reason I sit in the exit aisle is not for the leg space, but if the plane blows up, I'll go first. I'm like, why are you thinking that way, man?
Why? Because he's seen
the movie.
Air Force One, Snakes on a Plane, all the movie, every one of them. All possible.
One of my favorite disaster porns is A Day After Tomorrow, the one where everything freezes.
Everything freezing.
And so there is
my nightmare. That is my nightmare. And I'll tell you,
are your two big fears? That one, the Ice Age and sharks.
So the Ice Age,
okay,
deep sea, like where they're,
yes,
where they mutate these giant sharks and the sharks flood the facility. Samuel L. Jackson's in that movie too.
That's right. They're trying to cure cancer or something, right?
Yeah, he gets eaten like in a space that's like air pressured or whatever, air. And the shark like comes through and bites him and takes him.
Takes him away.
He Blue Sea, like I got stung by a jellyfish when I was like 5, and so like under the ocean, Cameron just doesn't. I just don't. It's not my thing. And the movie E.T. scares me to death to this day.
In what way?
That little monster, he like haunted my nightmares when I was a kid.
See, for me, it was the Close Encounters of the Third Kind. See, for me, it was the little gray things in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I'll watch that movie all the way up until those little bastards come out of the ship. I'm like, turn it off. I'm like, okay, I'm done. I saw enough.
Let me tell you, E.T. used to haunt me. To this day, I can't watch it. Like, I know it's fake. and like it's not real, and there's no little monster coming around the corner anymore.
Or yell at you. Bah.
Yeah, but like that little red heart and that little, and everybody I tell that to, they're like, he's so cute. No. So,
But what weirded me out about that one more than the heart was when he's all gray on the ground. That was like, oh, that's like, what the hell? I mean, it's like Steven Spielberg, you're a trip, man.
I got no problem admitting that because that was the one movie that just to this day I can't do it.
Let's see if there's I don't know. That'd be interesting. And so thanks everyone for joining. We got Cameron Cox on tonight. And so if you're in the chat, please note which non-horror movie scares the crap out of you, because I'm trying to figure that out. What non-horror movie can I not watch? I've never been a horror fan as it is.
You know what? I'll watch them. Like I've seen all the Saw movies.
Okay.
I'll watch them, but like it's just not enjoyable for me. Like it's not fun to see someone walk around in a pit of syringes. Like
why?
Why? Like why do I need to watch that? You know, we got weird problems in the world. I don't need to watch someone go through, like that. So I'm not a big horror movie fan. I'll watch them. I mean, I got no problem. But but as far as like what scares me, like E.T., the Deep Blue Sea, and the Ice Age, like I just.
So how about those other ones? There was one out there where like they were stranded in the middle of the ocean. Like there was one out there, they're like on a raft. I don't know that one. And then there was another one where they're like stuck under, like they're stuck like 120 feet down and they can't get out. And they're on like some scuba gear and they got like air feeding them from the surface. And I just like, I can't, anyway, it's like, the human mind's a trip, man, because if there are people writing stories like that, I'm like, where the hell, what are you tapping into?
You know what? I appreciate really good writing. And so like when I watch a story,
absolutely,
like I appreciate it when someone takes me on a ride like that, So that's why I always try and watch. I'll watch the scary movies, like How You Got There and all that. I just don't like it. But I love like stories with just really good stories. And so I really appreciate stuff. That's why Breaking Bad is like to this day my favorite ever TV show. The Mandalorian I thought was fantastic. Like just
Breaking Bad, I still have to watch, by the way. So I will and that's my mom's reaction because she absolutely loves that show too. Breaking Bad.
Yeah, let me tell you something. My dad, who just discovered Netflix like 4 months ago, he watched Breaking Bad. Come on, man.
I will give it some time, but like you said, I'm watching like Mandalorian. I'm watching WandaVision now.
I'm gonna do that later.
And then Expanse is the other one over there on. See, that's. I mean, I just like I got to be mindful.
Watch Breaking Bad. Like it's gonna be really cool. You need to document it in a way because I feel like there's
not
many reactions. Like you're going to be new, and so like I think a lot of people have seen it, and so I love seeing people's reaction to the movie.
Okay.
So, like, my dad was watching it. He started watching out of the blue because I had talked about it before, and he like called me the first day and was telling me about it, and then like he didn't call me for the next, or like we didn't talk about it for the next couple of weeks, so I didn't think he was watching it anymore. And then like one day he like randomly threw out like an episode in season 4, and I like freaked out on him, like, Dad, we haven't been talking about this. He's like, oh yeah, we just been watching every night. We watch like 3 or 4 episodes. And I'm like, Dad, I need to know what you're feeling because most people I know have seen the show.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those shows. It's just so great. It's just so good.
And now, so
you and your wife sit down and watch it. You all will.
Okay. So now, did you see that one when it was first released, or did you binge it?
No, I'm late. I'm late to everything.
I'm late to
Venmo. I was late to like paying bills online. I'm late to everything. I don't even use Venmo much anymore, or like much today, but like
there's really not much. I mean, I paid the girl that does my hair. That's it.
But a lot of my friends use it all the time, and I'm just like, you can Venmo me. And I'm like, I'm the one who reaches for my wallet, but like, oh, I don't have cash. They're like, just Venmo me. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. Let me do that. I'm late to everything on stuff like that. So I was years late to Breaking Bad. And so years late to Breaking Bad. And then when I sat down and watched it, it was unbelievable. And so I did not watch, but then see me, just like with The Mandalorian and Star Wars. So like I didn't watch a lot of the stuff outside of the movies until like
me
recently.
too. Okay.
And so like I enjoy watching a movie and then like getting on YouTube for the next 3 or 4 days and like just anything connected to the movie, reviews, post shows, chat, just like I love diving into that stuff.
Okay.
Breaking Bad, it was the same way because like people waited weeks for it, like every week for a new episode. So there were always like shows in between where like they would digest what happened and talk about it. So those were kind of cool to watch because that was happening in like real time a decade ago or whatever it was.
See, I didn't even think about that. That's actually very cool because not only can I go back and watch those for Breaking Bad because like they did them for Game of Thrones, right? I'm sure they're doing them for everyone else, right? So that actually would be an interesting perspective.
It's like Star Wars, like the same thing. Like there'll be references that like, all right, why? Okay, that happened. That was a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, why everybody freaking? And so then you like learn about why everybody's freaking out about it. Then you're like, then you freak out about it like a little later, and then you go back watching, you're like, I get it.
I get it. Because my mom was supposed to come up for Christmas and we were supposed to watch all of season 2 of Mando together, right? So she hadn't watched it. So come New Year's, we're like, all right, Mom, you got to watch it. And then everything else, but except catch up, but do not watch the last episode. We're going to watch it together. And so we had it on FaceTime and everything else. And so it actually, when her FaceTime took a dump like moments before the doors open and he did the hood thing. So we're like, trying to, we got her back on just in time, but it was like, okay, we got the big reveal because she was like this the entire time. So how could you not be?
I thought that was, I don't know. I won't say it in case nobody has seen it yet, but like, I thought The Mandalorian was so well. It was so simple. It's what Star Wars is. It's a simple story.
Right.
You learn to care about these characters, and it's what 7, 8, 9 should have been. Just simple story.
Right.
Where you care about the characters and you invest in them, and the payoff is awesome, and it ties in a little bit to old Star Wars. Like that's all we need as Star Wars fans. That's it. I don't need elaborate stories. No, simple Western style stories, and make me care about a few characters, which is what they did, and then tie in some old stuff that makes your mind go like this. We're good to go. And so I just thought it was brilliant.
That's why I'm excited for the Book of Boba Fett, right? Yeah. Because it's going to be just another Western. They're going to get into all these two goofy situations where you're going to see all these people wherever they're deciding to go. But I mean, just seeing Boba with the new armor all painted and everything, I'm like, man,
that was so epic because like growing up, he was like a character you thought was like some badass.
Yeah.
And, like, you always wanted to see him be that badass. You were like, man, that guy looks sweet. Like I'm just him as Halloween, like
because you knew all our imaginations knew he was a badass and put him in these situations. We never saw it.
You never saw it whatsoever. And so like that scene in the movie or in The Mandalorian where he just starts kicking everybody's ass.
He just lifts his knee and darts come. I'm like, man.
It was just sweet. So I'm excited about it too because those were, Star Wars is neat. And I thought about this the other day, like, I was telling you about my friend in San Antonio who I say named his son after Luke Skywalker.
Right.
But like, he's 20 years older than me, 25 years older than me.
Okay.
And so he has this personal connection to Star Wars from his childhood. And like, I have this personal connection from Star Wars from my childhood, even though we have this gap between us.
Of course.
And it just makes you feel something because it's just a story you grew up with. And here we are all these years later. You're still invested in like this universe and story. And it's just really neat. And I don't have any kids yet, but I remember when I was in San Antonio, he and his son were starting to watch the movies together.
Oh, man.
When I asked him about The Mandalorian, he was telling me that every Friday he and his son would sit down Friday night, they would watch it together. And I'm just thinking, like, how cool is that?
It's so cool.
I can't wait to do, too, as well, just sit down and, like, man, have my phone ready when Darth Vader says, I'm going to be like this in the corner.
Exactly, doing that. Exactly, capturing all that.
When something happens or he takes his mask off for the first time, he's going to be in the corner, just to see the true reaction from the next generation and keep it forward. That's what I just think is so cool about Star Wars is the connection through all the years. Here we are still watching, it's a different story, but it still brings. I think that's why people have that reaction to it,
right?
Because I think it makes everybody feel some sort of way. So.
Exactly. No, because you're definitely it's the good versus evil. It's the it's just a general, honest, straightforward good versus evil type of story. Even though there's so many nuances as you get into it more that you just don't really see immediately. It's just, I think that's why again I'm biased. It's going to stand the test of time. I understand. There's Furious fans, and then there's Trek fans, and then there's Padawan is a Harry Potter fan right now.
Harry Potter was good. There's nothing wrong with Harry Potter.
I have no idea.
No idea.
It was funny too because here was this one thing. So when we were having all the fires here in the Bay Area, like the sky was orange. I mean, it's just like we couldn't go outside. It was so, and they're all talking about, oh, it's all like Hagrid's going to come from the sky and come down and take us away. And it's like, if Hagrid came by, I was going to be like, this is a Star Wars house, fool. Get out.
Now, see, I don't get that protective, but like Harry Potter was good. I enjoyed it. I didn't read the books. I watched the movies. I thought it was fine. I thought it was good.
I gave it a shot. I gave the first movie a shot, and I was like, I had to move on. So,
okay.
I tried, but you know what? They're all into it. So I'm like, because this is the whole thing. If I keep pushing Star Wars on them more, then they're gonna love Harry Potter more. And I'm like, okay, they're gonna come back. They're gonna come back to the Force eventually.
Yeah. I don't know if people know this, but you and I are in this group chat on Twitter. And it's just a few friends here in Phoenix. People that like the Avengers and kind of these kind of movies. And so when everything happens, something happens, I mean, somebody will send something to the group text or the group chat about, this movie or this article. And it's we've had it for like since 20, I mean.
So Brad Denny renamed it to Endgame Convo, but I think it was like Infinity War Convo. I think that's when we started it.
I'm almost certain we've had it since since 2017.
It's like 2-3 years old. I'm like, this isn't bad.
Yes. It's so it's just neat. I'm a nerd when it comes to movies like this, Marvel, Star Wars. Like that's just I just enjoy that stuff. I think it's just great. And so
then you're gonna love WandaVision because
I've not seen it yet. I'm getting into that this weekend.
It's so good because me and Padawan 3 watched both. It premiered last week, so we watched both first episodes, and so I put a meme in our DM, and it's in there, and it's Jeff Goldblum kind of making a confused face. It's like, I don't understand it, but I like it, and that's really what you get out of those first 2 episodes. You are truly confused. There's a crap ton of Easter eggs, which makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah,
but you're like, I don't know. I still don't understand it.
I'm going back to some of the messages. Some of the guys, some of the guys are asking questions like, "Where's the timeline? What's happening? Why are they doing it this way?" And I remember I said something. I'm like, "Guys, it's like the '90s all over again. You got to wait a week. It's okay to not binge watch it every night. It's okay to not have the whole story today. Let's let it digest a little bit, and then we'll get the next one next week." So I've heard the interesting things about like the settings and what they're trying to show and stuff, and it's interesting because I want to know how it ties in. But I have a feeling this sets up something. You know what I mean? So it'll be cool to see where the story goes.
So I've been reading a lot, and so Paul Bettany says that it actually starts as a sitcom, but it eventually ends as a full-blown MCU movie. So it's going to be exciting, but also who we have to thank for those you got to wait a week is the Mando.
Oh yeah,
the Mando started that. Oh, you got to wait a week, or was it the Boys? Maybe it was the Boys.
I'm almost certain it was the Mando because as I've gone back and watched things on it, the time, like the people that I've gone to watch it on YouTube, they change. They're older.
Oh, got it.
And so like the stamps on the video, they're like weeks after each other. And so I'm almost certain the Mando didn't give you everything right away.
Oh, they didn't. It was one episode a week because it's like, well, there's 12 episodes, one a week. That's 3 months. So at least we'll get 3 months of subscriptions out of everyone. I'm like, you crazy geniuses.
It's cool. Like sign me up for it. But it's they're not very long. So like, that's the hard part.
That's the other thing. As a Star Wars fan, that's what you want. You want this big old full 2-hour cinematic experience, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh man, they're just messing with me and whetting my appetite.
You can't get enough of it. You can't get enough.
Keep getting it. So let's see here. So everyone, thanks again. It is top of the hour. We're gonna do a bio break after our new segment. We're gonna have PJ Saturno join us. Let's see if I can do this without being as clunky as hell and do that. Look at that. Oh. I did it with 2 clicks. PJ, how you doing, man?
Fantastic. Thanks
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Meet you.
PJ, how's it going, sir? Very nice to meet you, buddy.
Fantastic.
So if you are ever, do you cover ASU, right? So you are at the games?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so if you ever go, Lot 59, PJ and his buddy Adam have a brilliant tailgate. So,
well, it's great now because I've worked Saturdays my entire time here in Phoenix. So most of the time I actually have to work the game. And Coop was the one before he retired. He had Saturdays off, so he got to go and sit and watch the games, And so now that I have Saturdays off, it was kind of a bummer. Mark Kurtz and I were talking like at the beginning of the year. We were like, Mark, you got Saturdays off. I got Saturdays off. We can actually go to an ASU game and sit in the stands and watch it. And then I was like, wait a minute. We're in a pandemic. No, we can't. Okay. So next year, when I have Saturdays off, I'll look forward to going. Lot 50, I'll come by and say hello. Because
definitely.
Game, but when you're walking around pregame and you have to go to work, it's like you can't really sit there and enjoy it or get the whole vibe of it because you always got to go do something else later.
Right.
So I look forward to some of those days where I can just sit back and kind of enjoy an ASU football game and sit there and see some of the emotions that are on some of the faces. My producer used to work for us, man. Oh, he took losses hard. Oh, he would take the losses.
We all do.
Yeah, you should have seen us after that USC game. That was like, we were a mess after that USC game. But
PJ, the ending was nice.
The ending was absolutely epic. The ending was a brilliant end to the season. We would have taken that. We're still taking that end after all.
Yeah, so the billboard's great. I don't know who put that up, PJ. I don't know if you were part of it or what. But you Sun Devil fans, y'all never cease to amaze me. That billboard's awesome.
That's some good hate, as I'd like to say.
I love it too.
That's some good hate.
Wade gives. I love it.
Like I tell people that it's even their hate back. It cools me in the summer and warms me in the winter.
It's like last night, reading social media comments like, "Oh, what a brutal game." But I love the social media comments, like just the jabs. It never stops.
I know. I know that was at least there was a lot of 70 zeros being floated around back and forth.
Yeah, it's like, hey, we got you already. We got enough points.
Exactly. So PJ, 2 things, right? Obviously, you have your beer of the week, but also Cameron just shared that he's not very big into beer. So definitely a recommendation for someone that has a new palate. I would hate to shock him with a triple IPA. So
I'll try it. I was going through your social media, man. It looks like you got a bunch of stuff, man. And so I'll try everything. I've just never been that beer guy. So don't ask me for advice or anything. Like I tell my friends that I'd rather just drink something straight, but I'll at least try it. So I'm all for it. I don't like saying no.
Well, that's what I suggest. And I always do when I go to a different brewery or something is don't just take a taste of something, get a full glass of it. If you have to choke it down, you probably won't. You'll probably, start developing a little bit of a taste, but plenty of breweries have lagers, which are just going to be normal beers that you have. The IPAs right now, the hazy IPA is really popular across the country, and pretty much every brewery has it. And it's a good entry beer, for a lot of people because it's super tasty. So then it, varies from that when you start getting up into the double IPAs. And I was actually Tara just got this as a gift from Superstition Meadery from Prescott, and it's a mead, which is a beer fermented from honey. And Superstition Meadery is probably the best meadery in I'll say the world, but definitely in the U.S. I first had it when I was in Florida, but this is like 14%. It's called Peanut Butter and Jelly Crime, meant for just a small little glass. But there's so many different flavors of beer, just like wine. You'll definitely be able to find something that you like, no matter what your palate you're used to, but you definitely will acquire a taste for different things, as you try different things. Sours are really big, so there's all kinds of different flavors and styles out there when you start expanding what you're, past the Miller Lite. Now, don't get me wrong, I'll definitely drink a Miller Lite or a Corona if it's available. So I'm not the beer snob that way, but I do try to get people to explore a little bit and try different things.
It can be a little overwhelming. There's just so much out there.
Absolutely.
There's so much out, but I'm all for it. I'll try whatever. So
yeah, when you stop by our tailgate, that's all we do is craft beer and barbecue.
Oh, lot. Let me write that down. Lot 59.
Lot 59, man.
The schedule for next year yet? I was gonna say, save me a folding chair, please. I'll bring my own. I got you.
That's funny. Gus Farwell asked that this morning. He was like, "Anyone know when this 21 season gets announced?" I'm like, "I think next month. Maybe.
Crossed, we can go.
Yeah, exactly. May we all get to be there." So, PJ, what do you have with us? I know you're posting some cool stuff earlier, but what do you got for us?
Yeah, I actually stopped by the brewery today. Goldwater Brewing, probably one of my favorite. Top 2 or 3 breweries in the state, and my buddy Tim over there, they just released this Merlin's Orchard IPA. It's a single malt and single hop, or what they call smash IPA. Really tasty, easy drinking, got a nice orange flavor to it. Goldwater just continues to put out fantastic beers. I mean, between them, Wren House and Arizona Wilderness, who both have releases this weekend. I'm going to try to get to Wilderness tomorrow to get theirs, but they're the 3 best breweries here in the valley, and this beer is really good, easy to drink, really tasty.
And it's a hazy IPA, or is it a regular IPA?
It's hazy because of the orange, I think, but it's a single malt and single hop, so it's not super hazy.
Okay.
I know you can't get a good feel for it, but pretty light tasting. It's 6.5%, I think.
Okay.
But so it's still got a little bit of a kick, but pretty good flavor to it. And the only other single malt, single hop, or that I really like is Lone Pint from Texas.
Okay.
There's a lot of great breweries in Houston too, Cameron. Some of my favorites are out there in Houston. I get to go out there quite a bit for work. So, but Yellow Rose from Lone Pint is a similar style, and but this is really, really good.
That's excellent. Very cool. Yeah, I haven't had anything since probably New Year's, which I'm okay with. I'm saving myself, but we'll see what else I can find out there. I'm always looking for the milkshake IPAs, but we shall see, something else that we get to go ahead and find out and figure out what's going on out there as well. So no, that's good. That's actually excellent to see as well, and what you have going on. I mean, I love it. What else do you have? What else is anything else out there that you may be thinking you'd like? I mean, those are the big 3, those breweries there, but what else are you?
Yeah. From the other city in town that I hate to mention, the Pueblo Vita stuff, Tara and I really like anything that we get there. We have a buddy that brings a bunch down every time he goes there, and they're just killing it as well. So anything Pueblo Vita is fantastic.
Excellent. No, that is good to hear, man. And we got also Lucas Freitas, who's a stoner from Brazil, and he is just go ahead and commenting on weed beer and making an interesting thing. So, yeah, anyway. Yes, that is good.
It's a big day for that in our state, apparently.
That's actually interesting. Yeah, you guys can go ahead. I was
on social media for a while, and then all of a sudden I hop on and see some pictures of some lines in certain places. I'm like, okay,
People are buying it that hard. Were there dispensaries there, or how does it working?
Apparently, they opened them all today. You can today. Like I said, I've been off email and social media kind of today, but I think today's the first day you can go to dispensaries and get it. So
interesting. Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah, that's very cool. Like, I mean, I can't block the user anyway, or can I? Nope, I can't. Anyway, PJ, I appreciate you. Love seeing you. We're going to have a watch party on Monday. Hopefully, you'll get to join us once we watch the ASU travel down south and play the other team as well. So,
are you from here? Did you go to school out at ASU too?
Yes.
You did? Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Absolutely. So,
a few years ago.
Yeah, that's all. Hey, we all a few years ago. It's fine. We're all still like, kids at heart.
Right.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate you, PJ. Thank you so much. As always, we'll have you on, I believe, next week. We'll have another guest on there, have you do another segment. And hopefully I will find something that's a little bit unique from around here as well. Although, I don't know if I told you, I got something from Anchorage Brewery. I got it for one, and it was I've never spent, and I'm going to admit this, I've never spent $30 on a 4-pack, but I did that one time. So,
wow.
Nice. Yeah, that's what I said. Wow. But I did it. I did it anyway.
I got some notes here, man. I'm gonna go get some stuff this week. I gotta go to the store tomorrow. I'll pick up something. I'll send you a picture to get your approval and make sure I'm on the right track. All right.
All right. Take care.
I'll make an effort.
My pleasure.
I appreciate you, PJ. Good seeing you, man. As always, we'll talk soon then. Thanks. See ya. Bye. All right. So let me see if I can change that one. There we go.
I'll make an effort, Jedi. I guess I gotta go to the store tomorrow. So
it being Sunday, it being your Sunday, it's not a true Sunday where you don't have to wait till noon to buy booze, right?
That's true. Yes.
Because one of my friends lives in North Carolina, and he's like, "Yeah, I can finally buy booze before 12 o'clock now."
It's weird. In Texas, you cannot buy liquor or alcohol or liquor at grocery stores. Here, you can.
You can fill growlers at the grocery store.
Yes.
You guys are wild, wild west.
It's always weird now going back home and like there are liquor stores in Texas.
Right.
And then here you can buy it at the grocery store. And in Louisiana, there were drive-through daiquiris. Do you know how they get away with those not being an open container in your car? So they give it to you in like a styrofoam cup. They put the lid on it, put the straw in. The paper, if the paper's on top of the straw, it's considered not an open container. If they take the paper off the top of the straw, it's an open container, and that's how the cops can get you.
I thought you were going to say they put the straw is in the cup, but they put tape on the lid, so that's why it seals it.
No. So just literally, they take the paper off the straw, but they keep it on one end, and they put the straw in the container, and so it's considered a closed container. But as soon as you take that paper off the straw in Louisiana, it's an open container.
That's where Jamba Juice got it, because you have all these, they rip it, and that's exactly it. That's funny.
I mean, they hop like Chick-fil-A out there, one on every corner.
That's so cool, man. That is so like they were saying. Yeah. So I know we have a hard stop at the bottom of the hour, so I always ask these questions before we sign off. I know it'll spark some discussion, but it's been wonderful. But I ask these questions of all my guests.
Please, man.
So the first one is, what talent do you want the most that you don't have now?
What talent?
Yes.
Is this like a realistic question? Like what, or can it be
whatever it is, other than flight and time travel? Like if there's a talent that you would want.
My answer is there. I'm a Back to the Future, and I've been dreaming of a flux capacitor since I was like 7, man. Like
okay, fair. Okay, that's okay.
Okay.
And to that point, did I ever show you Padawan 2's crocheted 2015 McFlys?
Say what?
So he was looking. He's obsessed with Back to the Future as well.
One of the greatest trilogies ever written. Fantastic.
He absolutely loves it. And so what happened?
Somebody just tweeted out a video. They didn't know in the first one that the mall's name changed at the end. And
someone just realized that.
And, my buddy Rex Chapman, who has a great Twitter account.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and like he retweeted a video, and then like of the scene, like the beginning scene with the name, 2 pines and the lone pine, and all these people were commenting like they'd never seen. I'm like, you didn't know that? Like, come on.
Everyone, how did you not know that? That's so huge.
I don't know. So I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, but that's okay. But that's a brilliant point, because that's why. So he absolutely loves it, and so he was looking around at just stuff, and he found this lady in Sweden or Denmark that crochets shoes. And so she crocheted the McFly 2015s, and they are wearable slippers. And so he wears them around the house and absolutely loves them. So I will send you a picture of those.
Picture of that, whatever
he absolutely. So yes, but so outside of time travel and flight, what talents would you like?
That's why I asked you, like, if it's realistic, because like I think flying would be pretty badass. I'm not
flying would that be your superpower?
Yeah, man. Like
flight.
The fly would be pretty. Like that would be pretty cool. Like,
see, that's the thing too, because I thought about the flight, but I'd be worried about, okay, how fast am I flying? How high off the ground am I flying? All that other stuff. Because I mean, it's definitely a convenience, but once you deal with like birds and shit, then it's like, okay, can I survive that hit?
All right, now see, I've never gone that far with it, but I'll answer all those questions. I'm gonna deal with the birds. Birds ain't got nothing.
Okay. You'll be suited up in some form or another.
Yeah, flight talent. Oh man, you know what? I'll be real. I wish I was a better football player. Which might sound weird. Man, I miss the game. Like I love being around.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what? I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky. Like I've gotten to know some great people covering the NFL, college football, ASU. I mean, just phenomenal people. And I'm an X's and O's nerd when it comes to football. Like I one time asked Bruce Arians, "Hey, BA, can I sit in the back of one?" I will never report it. I just want to sit in the back of one of your meetings and listen. Like while you're talking, I just want to sit there, and I miss the scheming part of it. I miss the locker room. I miss the games. I miss that competitive stuff. So if there was one talent that I wish that I could run it back and really like just have that natural gift of God that some of these players have, that is just unbelievable.
Okay.
That's how good that's how good NFL, especially college football. So I'll tell you a quick story here.
Yeah. When
I got to college at Eastern, I thought I was a good player. I thought I was going to be able to contribute. And I remember we had our first 7-on-7 in the summer before anything.
Okay.
We just going out and throwing. One of my favorite routes to run was an out route. In high school, it's always open. Like I really good work, and I could cut on a dime and get open. Never forget this. Like I thought I was going to, come in right away and be a good player and contribute, blah, blah, blah. I caught the ball. Somebody was right there. I was like, where did you come from? It just shows you that every time you go up a level, like everybody's level goes up. And like play at ASU, how talented those guys are. Like I've watched guys like Chase Lucas since he was in high school, and to see how much better he's got and what he can maybe do in the NFL. And then to see all these NFL players and how talented they are. They're so good at what they do. And they're such great athletes. The linemen are a lean 300, like a lean.
Yes.
300. And so I probably wish I was a better football player. And if I were to another talent, I wish I could speak Spanish better. I don't do my hair any justice when it comes to that. My grandparents roll over in their graves every time I try. Same. Yeah. And I wish when I was a younger kid that my dad always says this. One of his mess ups as a parent would not have my grandparents teach me Spanish. I took 3 years of it in high school, don't remember much.
Yeah.
I know a few words. And so maybe I can teach myself that moving forward.
That's interesting about the Spanish, because that's one of the things that I still would like to do. But my dad, because again, my dad was born and raised in Douglas, right? But my dad was very English only. So he was very focused on that for me and my sister when we were growing up. So we never learned it either. But yeah, that was definitely one of the things I would
Can I
like
add
to do as
one
well.
more?
Yes.
That's for one. I'm giving you 3.
No, it's all good.
And 4 and 5, you count time travel and flight. I would love to learn how to play an instrument. Like I'm very fascinated by the drums. I think that would
Okay.
be, and the piano. Like I love.
Oh yes.
So I would love to at one point in my life. I think that would be really cool to learn how to play an instrument. I've known some friends that have later in their lives taught themselves how to play a piano. My college roommate, he learned to play the guitar in college and just watching YouTube videos. So I would love at some point to learn how to play another instrument. I think that'd be awesome.
So that's what I did in high school. I played basketball and I did track. I was actually discus and shot put in high school, but I was mostly a band nerd most of the time. And so I don't play anymore, but I can still read music. So my Padawan one's in choir and the twins are actually in band. So there's a lot of conversations that I get to have with them, kind of like brush up on my chops. But yeah, I agree with you. Getting back to playing it
is unbelievable.
It is.
People who can sing and they have the ability to just listen to something and recreate it and put their own twist on it, like that fascinates me. So I was never able to sing.
I still can't.
Yeah, I'm sure you don't. Those things. I bet you can. So I would love to have some type of musical talent one day. I think that'd be kind of cool.
So this is something for you. So here's something. Padawan 2, given his flashback roots. So Padawan 3, she loves vinyl. She has a bunch of records, has a record player. She loves that stuff. Padawan 2 went another direction. He loves tapes. I don't know why. I have no idea. But when
I'll tell you why. Because that's real music.
Well, you can buy a lot of stuff on vinyl that's real as well, right? But
you know what I'm saying, but like if it's on a tape or vinyl, probably it's older music a little bit.
It is.
But that's like real stuff today. Like I don't mind the stuff today. I'm a little older when it comes to that. Like,
right.
I just appreciate, Earth, Wind, and Fire, Michael Jackson. I mean, just older. I mean, just Stevie Wonder. Like that's my wheelhouse when it comes to music.
Absolutely.
Today, Drake. We can go on and on for it. But your kids got some good taste.
They got taste better than I do, because it was interesting because I have a box full of tapes, of mixtapes, of old full tapes, of singles, all this stuff, but it's all gangster rap. So Padawan 2 doesn't like it. However,
what like is it like 2000 gangster rap? Because that was some good rap. Or is it like
87, 80? No, 80s? So it's 80s. So it's 80s gangster rap.
That
so
was like the original.
That's the first wave. Yeah, the absolute first wave of gangster rap. So it's all that stuff. So it's Ice Cube's first album. It's NWA. It's
that's what started everything. Those are like the mixtape mini Bibles almost in a way,
It is in a way, and that's Sir Mix-a-Lot. All that's in there. And so it was interesting because I posted a picture out there, and it's like, I can't remember. He's on TV as well. But he's like, I love the fact that there's NWA, Sir Mix-a-Lot in between Jesu Joy of Man's Desiring, which is like a J.S. Bach piece. But anyway, but anyway, back to Padawan 2. So I know but he found a tape that was music from our marching band show that I did in my junior year. So he's been listening to it, and so he's upstairs on his trombone and he's playing it by ear now. And I'm like, so like you said, it's like I don't know if I did that when I was his age, but it's cool to watch him doing it. So anyway,
and that's like you just have an ear for it, and then you can make it happen. Like
he's doing that. So
that's pretty cool.
So now the next question for you. Other than family, other than friends, and other than your house, what is your most treasured possession?
I can show you. You want me to show you?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, hold on one second. Let me move some stuff on my table here. It's just what comes to mind right now.
Okay.
And I have it here in my. Hold on one second.
Sure.
I'll drink out the way here real quick. So. It is. It is that picture. I don't know if you can see it. Let me get some light on it.
It's a
That
collage.
picture, that right there.
Okay.
So that was hanging. It's got a lot of old pictures of me, my brother, my mom, my dad, like right when I was born.
Okay.
That was hanging in my grandparents' house from since probably I was a baby.
Okay.
They're no longer with us anymore. So my grandparents had two of these. They had a bar right when you walked in. And on one side of the bar was the same photo with all my brother's stuff in it. On the other side of the bar was a photo that was the same setup with all my stuff in it. This thing right here.
Oh, okay.
So that was hanging in their house for as long as I can remember. And my brother was always my grandma's favorite. And my grandpa was always, I was his favorite. So my grandpa would always point to this and tell stories. And my grandma would point to my brother's one and tell stories. And so like when they sold their house and had to go into a living facility, there were a few things that we kept. My grandpa's desk, which my mom has in storage, that bar was still there, this white bar that my mom has in storage. And I ran and grabbed that.
You did that.
I had that with me ever since.
That's so cool.
And it's just, my grandparents meant the world to me, man.
Right on.
Just they passed away right after I got the job here. So it is that was 6 years ago. But like they were just so great. And
that's excellent.
So welcoming, and they always took good care of us. Like my parents used to drop us off at work or drop us off at their house growing up while they would go to work every day. We got to spend so much time with them.
Oh, that's so cool.
But so like when you ask, like, I'm sure I have something else, but I mean, like, that's what comes to mind. So like, as I'm
you've won an Emmy, haven't you?
What's up?
You've won an Emmy, right? And it's the photo.
Really cool. That's really cool too. But like my most prized, like when I think about how long that picture frame has been around in my family,
absolutely,
where it was, how many, like, when we would take new pictures, I think there's like the oldest picture and there's like me in like the first grade, but like grandpa would switch it out and I just remember it. And I always said like when I had a place of my own, I would make sure that picture would be over either somewhere near the kitchen or
absolutely.
This is like my table and it's kind of like a bar setup, but it's like my table here in my apartment. And I just that was the first thing I hung up in this place. Like, that's
cool.
It's just neat. And I've carried it with me all these years. I also have a FCA Bible that I got when I was in middle school. And I carry that with me everywhere when I travel. So it's
right
like
on.
A full Bible, but it's meant for a Fellowship of Christian Athletes, has that kind of theme to it.
Yep.
And so when a speaker came and spoke with us when we were in middle school, and he gave us that Bible, and I've had it with me ever since. And so when I started to travel, like when I started to drive back and forth on this 11-hour quest to Portales, New Mexico from Houston,
right,
it always would be in my car with me. And so as as the years have gone on, like when I was in Monroe, and then when I go on trips, I'd always keep it in my backpack here with me. Just
that's cool.
Felt like it was keeping me safe in a way. And so
absolutely,
those are two things that really stick out. Like I've always had that picture frame with me. When I left, when I went to go work in Monroe, like that was the one thing I went back and got, because now I moved out of a dorm and a house, in New Mexico, and had my own place in Monroe. That's the one thing I went back to my mom's house. But okay, I'll take that now. Keep the bar in Grandpa's desk, and when I get a bigger place, we'll find those spots for that. And
right,
I've had with me every way. So those two things those would come to mind.
Those are the ones. Yeah. That's brilliant.
I have won some Emmys, and those are great too. I will say, I think my dad is more. Mom and dad were more excited about the Emmys than I was. They were like, Mom lost her mind. I'm like, and so that was cool to see their reaction. Probably means more than the actual trophy, because they were just through the roof.
Beside themselves. That's excellent. Very nice. Next one. There's just a couple more, but this next one.
Oh, no problem.
Please tell us your greatest meal in a restaurant.
Ooh, greatest meal.
Right. Doesn't have to be the most expensive. Didn't have to be in the most famous place, but just in your mind, it was the greatest meal you were a part of or you were at.
Greatest meal at a restaurant.
Yeah. Because I mean, some of us, some guests, that one gentleman was like, it was just a little Korean restaurant, you know, in the Bay Area. It was after a tournament and it was raining, but it was just them and it was warm. And they, you know, I shared one where, you know, Mrs. Jedi at ASU and I, we had a $2,000 meal at a 3-star Michelin restaurant, but it was our 20th anniversary. It was. It was that. Yeah. So it was, but it was worth it. It was a memory. It was a memory that I cherish, and it was all because of her. And so it was definitely something that, so I mean, it ranges. So it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be as extravagant. It doesn't have to be anything else. But, you know, what was yours?
There's a few that come to mind.
Okay.
My buddy and I, when I got the job here, I had been out of work for like 4 months, and I was like in a really weird place in San Antonio. It's kind of like a limbo. Like I was still a young kid, and I was like, I want to go. I didn't know what to do with myself being out of work. You're like, you're good enough to be on TV anymore. Like it was a weird. I was interviewing, and I remember when I got the job here, we went to go have hamburgers, and I don't even remember where we went to go eat hamburgers.
Right.
I had no money. I was sleeping on his couch in San Antonio before I got the job here, and so to celebrate, we went to go have hamburgers, and I just remember hamburgers, and like that's how we celebrated me getting the job. And knowing that I wasn't going to be sleeping on his couch anymore. I remember right before I went off to college, it was kind of one of the last meals, like all my family was together. And we even got my mom and my dad there, which never happened. You know, so grandparents were there, brother was there. We went to a Chili's because after that, I was hopping on the road and driving.
Right on.
To Monroe, Louisiana. And so everybody was there.
Right.
I remember that one. I remember one. The only reason I remember this because my dad and I were talking about this the other day. We were reliving some old moments, but we went to go visit his family in London.
Okay.
This was like in the early 2000s, I think like 2002, something like that.
Okay.
And he had some family in Wales, which is north of London.
Right.
And so we went to go visit them. But like during the day, we had been in London, the actual city. We went to, I think it was Wimbledon. We got resale tickets that day, and we'd done all these. We seen the Eye, the Ferris wheel,
right,
all that stuff. We had eaten throughout the day, and my dad's aunt, she had been cooking throughout the day. We had no idea that, no clue. And so we get back to her place, and we're full as can be.
Yeah,
I prepared this 5-course meal, and I just remember my dad and I were dying laughing the other day telling the story. He was like, Cam, Forrest, whatever. That's my brother's name, Forrest, not named after Forrest Gump, even though maybe I never have my dad been able to admit that, but you never know.
Yeah.
Plenty of run Forrest runs jokes when he used to play baseball. So yes,
right.
So my dad and I were dying laughing about this the other day, and so I just remember him turning the back. Guys, we are eating this meal.
Yeah, that's
We're
right.
not at this table until we eat this. He's like, I don't care how full you are, you're gonna eat. And so we had to go sit down. Then we didn't know these family members very. We just met them when we were coming to visit and see London, see England, and so we sat down. And I just remember being so full, but still figuring out a way to eat everything. I mean, she had it all, man. Sides, main. Wow. Everything, and it was just she was ready, and it's fun. I just remember that because my dad and I were laughing about that the other day. So those are a few that really stick out.
That's cool.
I will tell you this: I love to cook.
Okay.
I have no problem going out to dinner and like eating a nice meal. My dad always, or my grandpa used to always say, once a month, go out and get you a good meal. You only got to spend hundreds of dollars on it,
right?
But go treat yourself to somewhere you like to go, like a meal you can appreciate and like that feel good, that that you're going to enjoy, like at a spot that you like. And so he was big on that, and so I try and do that. So
where's your favorite place right now then in the Phoenix area?
Oh man, there's a taco shop on 16th. I'm just kidding. Actually, there's a taco shop on 16th Street. Taco Mitch is pretty good.
Okay.
If you're ever late, need tacos at midnight, boom, 16th Street, right over
probably there. Safer than Filiberto's.
Oh yeah. I was in college. You know what that Filiberto's reminds me of? In college, we had a taco box in Portales.
Oh no.
Not a Taco Bell, but a taco box. And I would only recommend eating the taco box once a month. Like if you ate twice a month, you were pushing destiny there. My favorite spot in Phoenix, I really like. If I were to go, like for example, the story I was telling my grandpa, and like if I were to pick like one spot a month where I would like to, Olive and Ivy is really good. Like that's
okay.
I know there's some other places around there, but like I really enjoy their food there.
Okay.
And, yeah, that's probably my favorite spot here in Phoenix.
There's a ton of
restaurants that are opened up and stuff like that, but like that's just my favorite.
There's just a ton of places every time I go back because we're always burning through to get there to Tucson to see my parents, and then it's always Chuck Box. We always make the stop there. I mean, and it's good too because like we're talking about stuff that the Padawans even they're haunted by Chuck Box. They're like, are we gonna stop? We're gonna stop. I'm like, yes, we're gonna stop.
So in Texas, that's a Buc-ee's. If you ever get into
Is
Texas,
it okay?
No, Buc-ee's is like a gas station on steroids.
Really?
Like, I'm talking like the kind that Barry Bonds took. Like that.
It's not a QT. It's better.
It's like a lot better. Like, and I love QT. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Blessing out here, it's great. I love QT, man. Those egg rolls. Oh my gosh, those egg rolls. I don't recommend eating all those egg rolls, but like to get one if you haven't had breakfast, those egg rolls are pretty good.
It'll keep you fueled.
Yeah, and so Buc-ee's is like that, but on steroids.
Is it okay? Now, are they all over Texas, or just like what? Where?
They're all over Texas. I don't know if they expanded in the South. I would think maybe Louisiana and somewhere in that area, maybe. But if you're ever driving through Texas, gotta stop at a Buc-ee's.
Okay.
Buc-ee's nuggets. Get they got all kinds of. I mean, your kids will have a heyday in there. I mean,
that's cool.
It'll be at least a 30-minute adventure. Like you'll get gas and be running around. Yeah, they'll be great.
See, that's the interesting thing. In the Bay Area, obviously we have fountain drinks, but all the gas stations are really old. And even then, some of the gas stations that show up, they're not palaces like a QT, right? Because then we go back to Arizona. It's like that's the thing. It's like my dad will put them in his truck and they'll drive to QT and they'll come back with a bunch of crap. But it's not like what is. It's different. It's similar crap, but it's not. It's not from QT.
So I usually go to the Bay Area, at least recently, not to visit my friend's family,
right?
But I go to San Jose with the Cardinals because they play in Santa Clara, and so we fly into San Jose. There is a gas station somewhere over there, right across the street from like the stadium, Levi Stadium.
Okay,
and always has the nicest salads, the nicest. I just remember that it's the same gas station because, like, most time when I land, I got to go to the stadium, shoot some stuff for the Saturday.
Of course.
And so it's before, it's a day before the game. And I always stop at that gas station, and, like, they have the nicest salad bar. And it's crazy. I'm like, this is just like some generic gas station, but has this great salad bar. So
leave it to California to have the nicest salad bars.
I don't even know. It's crazy.
Exactly. So my last question for you, my friend, is this one. So if you are familiar with, we're talking about TV shows. Rob Lowe was on Parks and Rec.
Okay.
I
never watched that.
It's a staple in our house, and it's worthwhile watching. So okay, got it. So Padawan 1 loves Office, but the rest of us love Parks and Rec. But
Padawan is my best friend now. Come on.
Which I just like we can't get into Office. It's for some reason Parks and Rec resonated with us.
Into the Office?
I don't know. We gave it a shot. I mean, it's funny, but we just we gravitated and clicked with Parks and Rec more. So it was interesting.
I could never get into. So I understand.
I mean, it's just
Parks and Rec because I just thought the Office was better.
Yeah, I have nothing to gauge. It's just I gave Office a shot, and I'm like, okay, Parks and Rec. But he had this character, and instead of saying literally, Rob Lowe's character would say literally. And so he has a whole podcast called Literally. And so I heard this question off his podcast. It's from Vogue. Have you ever been on Vogue? The magazine Vogue?
I mean, I've heard of it, but has been online, or do they do stuff online?
No, it's just the magazine. Have you ever been in the magazine Vogue?
No.
Me neither. It's usually fashion stuff.
I wasn't sure what you were asking. I could have answered that. If that was the original question, I could have answered that much. I was trying to think.
I'm sorry.
What did I miss something to watch? Did it
A
something
band?
I was racking my brain. I was like, if you just wanted to know if I've been on the magazine, no, I've not been on the magazine. But let me find an email and see if I can get. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Did you watch En Vogue, the girl group, perform on New Year's?
I did not.
Go look for it.
Okay.
Be still my heart. They still look fantastic.
Okay.
But anyway, this was a question he posed to former Sun Devil David Spade. And David Spade went into this whole story where this question led to David Spade telling a story about how he stabbed his father in the leg with a knife. It's a great story, so I suggest you go find it. But anyway,
hey, I ran over a mailbox one time. The driveway, didn't turn the car enough. Bam.
I did that actually with my truck. I was actually getting gas at a Circle K, and I was late. I was late to go see my girlfriend, then wife, and I clipped that post too hard because I was in a rush. Just kind of right behind the cab, right into the bed. And anyway,
my neighbors tell that story better than I do because they just remember they were looking out the window, my dad going nuts, and I'm just in the car, just like, oh. So
I know it. Yeah, and I didn't see my girl that night either. So so here's a question: if you had to see one of these three things, which one would it be, and why?
Okay.
All right. Which one of these three things did you have to see, and why? A UFO, a ghost, or Bigfoot?
I can. All right, process of elimination here.
Go ahead.
Bigfoot, gone.
All right.
Gone.
Okay, so we got two.
Gone. Some of my linemen were about as big as Bigfoot. So let's be real. 6'10" in college. Like, come on.
And somewhat just as hairy.
I've seen. Yeah. Come on. There's no. Evan was massive, a massive human being. Might as well have been Bigfoot. So
right.
I mean, that's gone. All right, UFO or ghost?
Yeah. Which of those two would you rather? If you have not seen one, which one would you want to see and why?
Oh man,
that's tough.
It's. God, I've seen. See, you know the problem here. This is the problem.
E.T.'s the problem.
No, you've seen too many movies. Like I've seen.
Okay.
I've seen every alien movie out there, and so you're just like, do they really look like that? Like, do they look like the Alien movie, or is it like Independence Day Alien, or are they like Mars Attack Alien, like
The Thing?
Or yes, the
Thing. That's
so.
Anyway.
Ghost. Is it like Casper the Friendly Ghost, or is it like the Ring Ghost?
Yeah, exactly. What am I dealing with
here? I mean, we've seen so many different things. So like, oh man, alien or a ghost?
You've been to that because again, you said that you've driven through Roswell. You've been to that alien, but that's kind of like all.
You know what? This is probably. I'm getting way too deep here. This is probably more.
No, I want to know. I want to know which one you would rather not see.
Let me tell you, ghost. I would love to see my grandparents once again.
Okay.
So I'll pick a ghost for that if it's them. Like if I pick them, I'll pick the ghost. All right. You know what I mean?
I do.
Like I told you, that's probably way too deep, probably too serious. But like I love.
That makes sense though.
About the photo, and if I could see a ghost, it would probably be them. So that would be
them. Okay.
If it wasn't them, and it was just like a ghost that was just here to scare me, I would probably pick the alien. Like I think that would be cool.
The UFO would be more to see.
Yeah, the UFO would be. I think that would be. Yeah, I mean.
Okay.
I'll say this: like, we can't be it. That's all.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying. Like
100%.
We just can't be it. Like that's just what that is what I believe at my core.
Agreed.
We just can't be it, and I think that would be kind of cool. Like a Prometheus style something. I don't know. Like something. I don't know. Yeah, we can't seeing a UFO or something like that would be.
That would be wild. I agree with you because then I would be like, okay, because a ghost is something completely different. I think with the UFO, there's a lot more. There's more implications for out there, from technology, from space, from leaving the planet and everything else. It's just there seems to be, in my mind, there's more implications. Although, I don't know, before the inauguration, right, under the previous administration, there was something that was passed, I think, as part of the COVID relief, that the CIA or the FBI had to release all the files they had on UFOs.
Well, there were some videos that were out there that were a little freaky.
From summer, but there's new documentation, not Project Blue Book, completely new stuff that is out there available to read. So,
and I'll be real with you. I've watched all the YouTube Area 51 videos.
Okay.
I mean, it's interesting.
Of course,
it's interesting. It's unique to speculate and to think about it. Is Independence Day, is that based on a true story? I don't know. I'm just kidding.
As long as you're not going QAnon rat hole, you're
okay. No.
That's all that is.
Will Smith did not try and save the world. I just think we can't.
The second one was good though. Did you watch the second one?
I thought the second one was better than I thought it was. I didn't think it was a great movie though. I thought the story was a little weak, and yeah, it just didn't hook you like the first one. The first one, I'm all for. I'd like fan service. I'll say this: I like fan service. Okay. I think that's okay.
Yeah,
but the story has to be better. Like you have to. You can do fan service all day, and I think that's great because that's the connection we were talking about earlier.
Of course,
the story itself, the writing, the storytelling, I think has to be better in a way. You can do fan service all you want. If you got a weak story, then it really.
Yeah, if you're just doing a movie for fan service, like some of the Star Wars movies, then you're like, then it falls flat. Then people present it exactly.
You lose that connection.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we can't be it. So
I feel you, man. We cannot.
It would be cool to see a UFO. I don't have a story that connects me with stabbing my dad in the leg with a knife. I'm trying to figure out how David Spade, how he ended up stabbing his dad with a knife.
So what it was is that he
pick the UFO?
He was tiny. So he was tiny. He was probably like, I guess he was saying he was like 4 or 5 years old.
Which one did he pick?
Huh?
Which one did he pick? The UFO, the ghost, or the Bigfoot?
I think it was the ghost, because what happened was it led into the story of how when he was very young and his dad would play pranks on. It's like, oh, I'm going to turn around and scare you and all this other stuff. And so what happened was that he did that, and his dad was a little bit more heavy duty about it. It scared him, and so the only thing he thought of, he's saying in his little kid's mind, he's like, I need to protect my mom. So he ran to the kitchen and.
So I have a memory list of like pranks. Oh, I can't wait to have kids. I just can't wait. They're gonna get it. I don't know if you do it at your house, but like they're gonna get it. They're gonna get it. So
there was a couple that I did early on, and I saw the reaction in their face, and I kind of throttled back. So I kind of like, it was like it broke my heart a little too much. And I'm like, okay, I can't do that. I can't do this anymore. I can't do it. But
that's a great question.
But like I whip out the chancla. They know about the chancla.
They say my grandma. It was the same. My grandma, mom were the same way. Don't do it. Like the worst words in the house were like, I'm gonna go tell your dad. Or I'm gonna go tell grandpa. But if mom ever felt the need to turn it up a notch. Oh, she knew exactly. Mom had a game, and then grandma was like, "Go get the switch." And if you picked the wrong switch off the tree, you brought back the wrong switch off the tree. She had to go get the switch. Oh, that was another.
That was the end of the day, because it was interesting. Because so Padawan 2 always talked about the chancla, but they never knew it. And then all of a sudden, there was one time where and again, it was just being. I don't know. I didn't crack, but I was like, okay. So I had a chancla. I got my sandal, and Padawan 2 started running, and he turned a corner, and I still hype it up this way. I threw it and I clipped his ankle, and he just like stopped in his track, and he's like, it turned the chancla can turn the corner. You can't escape.
You know what it is? that's that dad strength. That's that dad, just knowing exactly what to put on it. That parent, like you knew, you didn't even have to think. You just
And it's just when you have a kid, it's just like that gear kicks in. It's like, oh, I know how to do this now.
like you knew exactly what flick to give it. I mean, just do it. It was gonna be right where you aimed it.
And it's so funny too, because it's like they're all like, "I'm gonna try this," and it's flying all over. It's like you're not a parent, so that's why you don't have that superpower yet. But
yeah, so, I mean that's a great question. Yeah, I would probably pick. I'd probably pick the alien UFO.
Yeah, the UFO.
That would be cool to see if what the deal is, and I'm fascinated by space and
absolutely.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I wanted to be an astronaut. I probably knew that was never going to happen, but to me that stuff just fascinates me. So
that's why like SpaceX and all that stuff that's going on now is just so exciting, right? Because it's just like, telling the kids, I mean, I'll spend hours watching. It's like, what are you doing? I'm like, this is history. This is stuff that I've been dreaming about my entire life. It's finally here.
And you know what's crazy? I think sometimes people lose sight of that. It was always weird to go back and like research the Apollo program, and by like after like the fourth or fifth mission, all of a sudden it was like natural to land on the moon. Right. You're just like, excuse me, like it's just normal, like to go to the moon in the 70s and the 80s, like it's normal. And so like, even now, like I have that appreciation for it, and like what SpaceX is doing now, and the fact that you could maybe go live on the moon one day, or that you
absolutely
could up there, like I mean, that blows my mind. It just shows you like we can do anything, and it's just like
exactly
it's neat. It's just neat. So
it's a good era to be.
I'm a history buff too. Like one day when I have kids, I'll read their history book for fun. They'll come home and dad's just like, if they have books, kids don't even have books anymore. They got iPads, so I'll read their history iPad, whatever the app.
They're still making books, so we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, because my kids get a whole. All three of them got a whole stack. When the year started. So
I know some schools here they don't have textbooks. Everything's on an app now, so
that's the way to go. So anyway, I understand. So what else? So as we sign off, what else are you up to? What do you want to promote? What do you want to tell people to do and follow and see what you're up to?
If you're ever in Phoenix, if y'all ever, want your local sports fix, every night, 5, 6, and 10, we have shows on Channel 12. We have a Sunday night show, 12 Sports Tonight at 10:30. We always try and tell a lot of different stories locally, anything. Ever. We'll give you your sports knowledge of what's going on with the major teams too as well. But we try and incorporate as many different stories as possible. For example, this Sunday night, 10:30, we're talking with Chris Paul's dad. You want to really know what Chris Paul, like what makes him tick? Go to the parents. And Chris Paul, he was phenomenal.
That's cool.
It was just really cool conversation, kind of dive into what, Shaq, it's funny. Not Shaq. Charles Barkley, every time he's on TV, he calls Chris Paul the best leader in the NBA. So like after talking with his dad, like I think that's accurate. I'm almost certain that's accurate.
Interesting.
That's we always hear stories like that. Missy Farke, the golf coach out there at ASU, she just got diagnosed with cancer again. Yes. She talked with our other sports reporter, Kirsten Susel, today. Obviously everybody knows the story of her sister Heather, who passed away when she was 28. Mm-hmm. She was going to be a phenomenal golfer. She died of cancer. So she's kind of always have had to battle this in her family and in her life. And now she's got to take a little bit away from her job as the head women's golf coach at ASU. So we'll have that story too as well. So, we always try and have a good mix to it. My goal with that show is every Sunday we hope to make you laugh, cry, and think in a way, plus give you your sports stuff. So that's always kind of our goal behind it, and I think we've done a good job at that. So that's every Sunday at 10:30. And then if you want to get hyped up for the Phoenix Open, not this Sunday but next Sunday.
Okay.
Our 5th year in a row doing a golf show out at the Waste Management Phoenix Open. So we go out there, we take some celebrities out there, we play a few holes, we laugh. I'm not great at golf, even though I try and talk myself into being good at it sometimes. Right. So we take the show out there. So next week's show will be all dedicated to the Phoenix Open.
Oh, that's
golf
cool.
With Patrick Peterson, Suns legend Eddie Johnson, and Gar Hurd, the man who hit the shot for the Suns back in the finals in the 70s. So that's kind of cool coming up. So we got some good stuff coming up.
Wonderful. Well, it's always tag me on those, so this way we can hype those for you on the twitter.com.
Thank you for thinking of me, man. This has been great. Like this has been a good way to spend a Friday night, good company, just talking. Like it's been great.
Absolutely. That was actually always a goal, I wanted to be able to visit with friends in some form or another. So why not put it out there and just have some good conversation and have some drinks and share what we're up to. So again, I'm eternally grateful to you, and we'll definitely have you on as football starts, because I'll want to hear your thoughts once ASU gets in the swing.
I'll say this. I hope if the world keeps going like it's going, I'm hoping the football season is the start of, this is my goal in my heart. I'm hoping the football season is the start of like normal life once again.
Okay.
That's kind of my goal in my head. Like, I don't know if it's the right or wrong thing, but if stadiums in the fall start to be somewhat full, you can get back to some of those gatherings, and people are healthy and the world is healthy. I know that seems like a long way away, but to me that seems like the target. And
exactly,
I just hope by then, because Jedi, it was so weird, man. Like, we're not seeing people, I just felt the fans in the games were just disconnected this fall.
Right.
And no matter how invested you are, I know you're a diehard ASU fan, but it's just not the same. It's just not the same without seeing the fans' reaction. Or
absolutely.
How they are, and you can watch the game from home or, and not be around friends. It's just not the same. And so I just hope by the fall, we're allowed to do some of those things once again, like the tailgate with PJ. I mean, just those are what makes sports equal. The games are great, but like the camaraderie with people.
Absolutely.
For me, that's the root of sports.
Yes.
How it connects us all. And so without that, sure, it's nice and I'm selfish. It's nice to cover the games. It's nice to be able to do that and still have a job. You know what I'm saying? But without that fan connection, it ain't sports. It
is. It's that community that you get to bring and be part of and celebrate together, right? Yeah, celebrate and cry together.
Yeah. So I've been watching the Buffalo Bills fans celebrate, when their team winning, they've been running to the Capitol and driving. I'm jealous. I'm like, man, why can't we do that? So hopefully.
Well, you probably could, but then you just make sure you're wearing a mask.
There you go. I like that. Yeah, I'm hoping next year's a big year for ASU. I think they got some guys coming back.
Promising.
And Jaden Daniels is going to grow. That offense is going to grow. So I'm hoping it's a good step for them. So
I just want the basketball team to turn around. That's what I want.
They just the problem is they just don't have any size.
Yes.
And it's really hurting them. When
it's a glaring gap.
Yeah, like last night is another example. Nobody boxed out on that final play. Nobody. And so the guy who runs free for Tabellis just runs free for U of A and can lay that back in. So when you don't have that true, you don't even have to have a true presence anymore down low. You have to have somebody who got some dog in them who can rebound and be that guy in the middle.
Absolutely.
They don't have that. And so it's kind of like the opposite of what the Suns are doing. DeAndre Ayton's playing well. Everybody else is shooting and playing well around him. When DeAndre Ayton wasn't playing well, everybody else struggled. And so it's kind of like ASU basketball. They don't have that presence in the middle. And so nobody's not creating shots for anybody else.
Right.
They don't have a full team together all year. So you just –
People are leaving.
Yeah, and so it's just Tayshaun Cherry, who knows if he's coming back. So it's a little weird. I hope they turn around. They still got some time.
They do.
But the problem is, though, they have to make up games and they're running out of time. So that's a lot of basketball. They got to make up 4 or 5 games, I think it is. And so they got to play the back half of the Pac-12 season. Plus you have to add 4 or 5 games. That's a lot of basketball to be played.
It's a lot of basketball to be played.
Pac-12 tournament, which is always tough. And then if they make it to they're just running out of time to really catch themselves. So.
Exactly. No, we'll see, man. It'll be, at least we get to watch it, but hopefully it turns out the way we want it to. So, but Cam, I appreciate you. I cannot thank you enough for being part of this, and I can't wait to have you back on the show again.
This was a blast, man. Anytime you want to ask me some of more of those questions, man, you got me thinking, man.
I got you, man. And then
thank you for thinking of me.
Absolutely. I loved it. Fire up WandaVision, and then we'll probably do maybe that's what we should do. Maybe we should talk through WandaVision, because there's some great Easter eggs in there. So keep
I'm
your
gonna
eyes
watch the first episode tomorrow. So
excellent.
I'll message the group chat on Twitter once I fire it up, man. So again, thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Stay on the line. I'm going to take you off the stream, and then I'm going to sign off, but then we'll talk as soon as I end that. But Cameron, I thank you again so much. And everyone out there that is part of this, thank you so much for staying on here. Let me make sure I can change my brand, because this way you can see my pretty face out there without all the branding in the way. Again, I love you all for being part of this. Thank you so much for being with us for the past 2 hours on a Friday night. Hopefully you have had a wonderful week and you'll have a wonderful weekend. But as always, I love you. I appreciate you being part of this. Make sure you love yourself, most importantly, but also love those around you as well. So have a great week. We're going to have a watch party on Monday when we play You Them. So be watching out for that tweet as well. If you need to be a part of that, just go ahead and send me an email, jediasu@gmail.com. If you love the shirt, it is off Fanatics. Make sure I'll have a link down below in the description, so you can click on that and you can buy that. And like I said, I think I get 2 cents for every shirt sold. So the goal is to sell 100 so I can buy a coffee. So we will figure that one out. But as always, thank you so much. Have a great weekend, and we will see you next week. Good night, everyone.